Well, I think we still have, quite a bit ahead of us, but it's good to be able to finally show the game again in public and to come out with, I think, a very, very strong offering with our Red Zone gameplay, to be able to announce, our exclusive co-op beta yesterday on the Microsoft stage. Again, I think we have quite a bit of work ahead of us, but it's a really good feeling to be coming back at Gamescom in such full swing.
You got any ideas?
Okay.
That is related to this game's history of publishers. So when it was originally under development with THQ and roughly the same team that's on it today, THQ wanted a direct sequel to the first Homefront, and they wanted it to be very similar to the first Homefront in that it would be a linear, scripted shooter. When Downbuster got the rights to do Homefront after THQ's sort of bankruptcy, they thought, well, given the sort of guerrilla tactics that we want to be able to use, given the setting, given the story that we want to tell, wouldn't it make more sense to take the game open world? Be a lot more work for certain, but would it be the right thing to do? Doesn't it better suit the story that we want to tell? And the answer was yes. And so basically began work on an entirely new, radically different direction. And as part of that, also had the opportunity to reconceive the backstory. Starting from the original premise of an occupied America and resistance movements, but not necessarily following the previous game in terms of how they got there. So, whole new backstory, whole new cast of characters, whole new single-player campaign. Really, what the studio getting the IP did was allow them to build the game of their dreams.
Too big. We gotta bail. Run!
Isaac's team, head for the transceiver.
Well, I think One Philadelphia has a lot of historical significance with regards to the American Revolutionary Movement. It's the site of Independence Hall. I still need to look this up, but I believe it was originally the capital of the United States before it moved around a bunch before they eventually ended up in Washington, D.C. The architecture there is a very unique style. It's very, New England. It's a lot of red bricks. And it was that mix of so we've got historical significance, we've got interesting architecture. It's in a city that a lot of other, movies and games don't tend to go. They tend to focus on New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco. And so Philadelphia seemed like a good choice in which to set the game. That's a little tricky to say. I mean, we're not talking too much about the story yet, but we have a very high impact cinematic single player campaign. That's one thread that runs through the single player experience, but there's all of the strike points, there's side missions, there's all sorts of other activities that the players can engage in. So the exact, if you're looking for a number ratio, I don't really have that. I can just say that there's there's a great density of things to do in that world. No, when you've taken a strike point, you don't capture the area, right? It's not like there's no occupation presence in the neighborhood anymore. What you've done is allowed the resistance to operate more freely within that sphere of influence. So you'll see more fighters on the streets, you'll see more pro-resistance posters on the walls and more graffiti and things like that, but you'll still encounter the foot patrols, the vehicle patrols. The difference now is that where previously those foot patrols might have been you against 4 guys and a vehicle, it's now maybe you and 3 other resistance fighters in the area against those 4 guys in the vehicle, and the odds are a little bit more even now. When you capture one of those strike points, right, all of those fighters in the area will be tasked with their own missions. Okay. So you can't, order them to take missions for you. They've got their own orders. That's really what that's what that's about. Right, if you see a group of resistance fighters running off in one direction, and you think, well, I don't know what to do next. I want to have some fun. you can follow them, and they'll lead you to a new location or to an interesting firefight or to another strike point, because they've got their own orders for where to go and what to do, as you have yours. There are a couple of reasons for that. One of which is we wanted the Resistance's weapons to feel much more like homemade, much more like things you would find in people's homes or in stores or lying around, things that normal everyday people would have access to. And then the fictional reason is connected to our backstory, and that's something that we're not talking about too much yet. But we will be revealing more in the coming weeks and months. Yes, actually we announced that yesterday, like I said, on the Microsoft stage. We will have a 4-player cooperative experience where you and your friends can get together. You can form your own resistance cell, you can create and customize your own fighters, you can go out on missions, and that's about all we're saying right now. We'll be revealing more in the coming weeks.
Chicago Alpha.